In this tutorial, we are going to be looking at a basic problem that has to do with how to find the mode in biostatistics. Let's assume you are given this kind of problem, which you ask to find the mode using the formula which says mode is simply going to be Lm plus the delta 1 divided by delta 1 plus delta 2. We are going to multiply everything by W. Before we look at how to solve this problem, I need you to grab a pen and write this down, as we're going to use it throughout these steps. So in this case, there is what we call the PC, and there is what we call the SC, there is what we call the MC, and there is what we call the LM. In this case, the PC simply stands for preceding class. This refers to a class interval immediately before the model class. Let's say we are given model class, and you need to know what is model class because it's very important. Because this MC simply stands for model class. When we say model class, is a class interval in a frequency distribution table. Listen, frequency distribution table, meaning that we are only focusing on this. So this class is from frequency distribution table, and it says it has the highest distribution in the classes. So if that's the case, we are going to be using this 15. Since 15 is the highest frequency which we have on the distribution table. This is what we're going to be using to find our modes. Let's say we have the MC, which is the model class. So, and we said we have PC, and we said PC is proceeding class, refers to the class intervals immediately before the model class. So what we have up here before the model class is what we call the preceding class. And anything we have down here is what we call the succeeding class. So notice that in the formula we have delta 1 and we have delta 2, and there is a particular place which we join the delta 1 and we plus it with delta 2. You don't need to copy this, I'm just giving a rough explanation. So in this case, we already know what is the PC, XC, MC. The last thing we left is the LM, which is the lower class boundary. For us to know what is our lower class boundary, when we are focusing on this, which is 10 to 15, and the frequency is 15, the lower class boundary is from the class interval. Which one of these two is the smallest value is simply going to be 40. Therefore, our 40 is our lower class boundary. So, for us to pick our data, we can set our LM is simply going to be 40. What about our delta 1? Our delta 1, for us to find our delta 1, we are going to say MC, which is the model class. We are going to minus PC. In this case, notice that what we have immediately, right? We have MC is 15 minus PC, which is up here. This, our PC is simply going to be 12. In this case, 15 minus 12 is simply going to be 3. Therefore, our delta 1 is simply going to be 3. Since we are done with this point, we are going to look at this point. Which, in this case, notice that this particular portion is going to be delta 1 and this is going to be delta 2. For us to find our delta 2 is simply going to be MC minus SC. And our SC is constantly, which is we said is 15. Our SC is simply going to be 10. MC minus SC is simply going to be 5. Therefore, our delta 2 is going to be 5. So, now that we have found our delta 1, delta 2, the only thing we are left to find is W, which is the width. For us to find our W, which is the best thing we need to do at this point is to subtract the upper boundary of the model class minus the lower boundary. If you notice, the upper boundary is simply going to be 50 minus 40, which at the end of the day, our width also is simply going to be 10. So, we have found everything. Now we can substitute our value and find our final answer. So, the mode, let's donate it with M, is simply going to be LM, which is simply going to be 40. LM into bracket of delta 1 is 3, divided by delta 1 again, which is 3, plus delta 2, which is simply going to be 5. We are going to multiply everything by 10. So let's continue. This is simply going to be m, which is going to be 40, right? If you plus everything at the denominator, 3 plus 5 is simply going to be 8. At this point, we're going to have 3 divided by 8. We're going to multiply that by 10. Let me copy it. Here is going to be m, which is going to be 40 into 3 divided by 8 multiplied by 10. So let's start with the bracket. Here we have 3 divided by 8, which is simply going to be 0.375. Our mod is simply going to be 40 into bracket of, remember, this is supposed to be addition. Addition. Because if you multiply, I promise you that you are not going to get the right answer. Here is going to be 0.375. We are going to multiply it by 10. If you multiply 0.375 by 10, it's simply going to be 40 plus 3.75. Decimal places is just simply going to just move. So if you multiply 40 by 3.75, our mod, which is the final answer, which is what we are targeting for, is simply going to be 43.75. And this is it for this problem. I hope you find it very helpful. But let me take a very quick revision. A quick revision which I want to take is on the case of the PC, SC, and MC. Notice that this MC is the one that will determine everything you are going to do in this problem, because MC is the model class, which we say is a class intervals of the groups of these values which we are given. And the distribution, for the MC, the distribution must have the highest. In this case, the highest is 15, and that is the reason why we take 15. So notice that the class interval for 15 is simply 40 to 50. And from the formula, we have our delta 1 and we have our delta 2. We said the MC is simply going to be at the middle, which is the modular class. And we need to know where to arrange our PC and SC. The first one, which is PC, refers to the class interval immediately before the model class. Immediately before the model class, the up here is simply going to be PC. And after the model class is simply going to be SC. So for us, in this case, the point from here to here is simply going to be delta 1. Here and here is simply going to be delta 2. If that's the case, for us to find our delta 1, we are going to take this to be the subject of the formula. Our delta 1 is simply going to be the MC minus the PC, which is the model class. You can just write it this way: model class. You are going to minus that by the preceding class. In this case, model class, remember, is 15. Model class is 15, which is the highest frequency. 15 minus the preceding, which is 12. 15 minus 12 is simply going to be 3. And that is how we find our delta 1 to be 3. In the case of delta 2, it's simply going to be the model class minus the SC, which is the succeeding class, which is simply going to be 15 minus 10, and our answer is simply going to be 5. Then you insert our value, which we say delta 1, since delta 1 is 3, divided by 3 plus 5. 3 plus 5 is simply going to be 8, multiplied by width. Alright, what about the width? We have already explained how to find the width, which we said 50 minus 40 is simply going to be 10. We're going to multiply that by 10. So this is it for this problem. I have some few videos under the biostatistics, some basic formulas of the biostatistics, that is for the variabilities, and we have some problems and solutions which we solved under the biostatistics, which I'm going to drop the link down below. Feel free to check it out. If you really find this thing helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.